Hi, welcome to Pictures, Noise and Words. I'm Hedgie,
Now, Paz.
and this is, well, it's a podcast kind of episode. We used to do these back in the day. It's quite fun. So this is probably going to be quite long. I have no idea at the point when I'm saying this just how long. I'm going to go with 3 hours. So, as you've probably all no doubt seen the title, this is us discussing our favourite singers. So, not who we consider to be the best singers in the world, because that's such a subjective subject that you can't be right, can you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get your headphones in. It's just funny looking at you. Get your headphones in. We're not listening to anything. It's such as I'll start again.
No, carry on. I only had my headphones in, so I wouldn't have to listen to you tell me how good Ian Anderson is, or what other Anderson bloke. Yes, or something like that.
John Anderson.
John Anderson. Yeah.
He's good. Anyway, so this is
you know what we're talking about, really, do.
So this is like our favourite singers, and when I first, when you first, because Paz said, "Oh, there's an idea, let's do that." When I first thought about it, it seemed like a simple thing. So on the one hand, simple, well, who'd you like? And on the other hand, quite difficult, because when you just immediately try and think of your favourite singers, you can only come up with a couple of names off the top of your head before it all starts to get, before I just hit a wall. But then when I gave it some thought and actually put some effort in, there's actually quite a lot. So it's how do you define what your favourite singer is? So it occurred to me that your favourite singer is somebody you would listen to no matter what. So they could be singing their shopping list, you would listen to it because they've just got a voice that you just want to hear, you know? Because there's 1,000, 100,000, a million good singers out there. But who are the ones that just click with you the way you would, like I say, you would listen to them sing their shopping list, frankly. So we're not doing it as a top 10. We're just going to do it as a discussion.
Yeah, because I did suggest top 10, then we had a discussion, let's do top 5. Then like I say, when you start thinking about it, that's not going to work.
I can't do
let's
5.
just have a discussion about which fingers are our favourites and which ones we like and why.
Absolutely, you got people who are like right at the top of your favourite singers, but then there's loads of other singers that you also want to mention, you know.
Yeah,
so when you start trying to do a top 10 or whatever, it goes wrong very, very quickly, kind of thing. So we're not these. So Adam Paz probably the same. Not necessarily putting these in an order, because again, how do you compare one type of singer? How do you compare an opera singer to a rap artist? You can't do it, can you? It's such a different thing that you can't say one's better than the other. You know, the opera singer's probably not great at rapping. so you can't necessarily. The opera singers are better singers than rappers, just to be clear. Yes,
because it just comes down to personal preference and what I say. It's what
the whole thing's subjective.
What clicks with you?
Absolutely. So what clicks with you?
What clicks with me? Well, I think should we get the givens out of the way? Really.
He doesn't. I have no idea what he's written on his list, by the way. And he's no idea.
I've got loads on my list, but one's growing up. I would say. Bruce Dickinson.
Right. So Bruce Dickinson's written down on here, but I've written in the old days.
In the old days, yes. I've got it's part of my givens. It was Bruce Dickinson and Dio.
Because they
shaped my early
amazing soaring voices that when I was much younger, you just thought this has dragged me along with metal. You know, it's like this. I can't get enough of this. I'm not so keen on Bruce Dickinson's voice right nowadays. I feel it's gone a bit. It all seems a bit high all of the time.
To be straining a little.
Like bit. He's straining.
I don't think the melodies are as good as they used to be, but I still think he's great. I went to see his one-man show. He's obviously touring soon with his new one-man show thing, but it's when his book came out. That was really good as well. Didn't sing, but it was just really interesting to listen to. Got some. Oh
yeah, it's one of those people you could talk to for hours, I'm sure.
Yeah, he used to worship at the Isle of altar of Bruce Dickinson and one of James Dio.
Whereas Dio, I just, it's not that I don't like him. I just never really listened to him back in the day.
And then the next lot of singers after that were Michael Kiske and Jeff Tate. I was obsessed with Jeff Tate for a long
Both those names are on my list.
But I'd still have them as givens because
But Helloween, again, around the time of when Iron Maiden was, I was really into Iron Maiden, so you're talking like, late 80s, and Helloween around that time doing Keeper of the Seven Keys. It was just amazing. His voice is still amazing.
Yeah, it's outstanding.
It's still amazing.
Yeah. And then I was thinking, when I put Michael Kiske or Jeff Tate in my top 5 favourite singers, and I think it feels like I should, but probably wouldn't. And then you start thinking about it, you think, they shaped my early love of metal. But when you think about it, Michael Kiske arguably has only sung on 2.
I know.
Amazing Halloween album.
That's how big an impact it had that we still think about it now.
Yeah, and Jeff Tate was great up to Promised Land. I don't think he had great material after that, but then he's gone downhill. So if I put him in my top 5, I'm only putting him in my top 5 just for the early catalogue, and same with Michael Kiske as well. However, they are such an influence on my listening and also how I write for The Spectre Beneath as well. Huge influence on that, and that's why I still like the clean vocal, probably because of them and Bruce and Dio as well.
So there's an obvious one for me, who I literally would listen to them singing their shopping list, would be Floor Jansen, who's currently with Nightwish. But it's not really for her Nightwish work. It's just for her and what she has done. If you listen to like the stuff she did on that Dutch show, Best Zangers. Have you seen it?
That, no.
So it's nothing to do with her career. She's just on a TV show. It's like a talent show almost, but it's not a competition. Yeah. And they've just got these amazing singers, and they all sing the song. And she's on it for week after week after week, and she sings these songs. She sings like Phantom of the Opera and stuff like that with an opera singer guy. And you just think this woman can do anything, And the stuff she's done with Arian and the stuff she did with herself as Revamp. I just think she has one of those amazing voices that has captivated so many people. I don't care about them. It's just about what I think, and I would listen to her sing anything. So yeah, it's almost an obvious choice, but I think in the world of female metal singers, she's at the top for her genre.
Oh yeah, totally. We had this discussion before we started recording. She's at the top, and I would put Floor Jansen at the top of technical ability and talent. I mean, she's amazing. Would I put her in my top 5 or 10? It's one of those things. No. It's just down to sheer personal taste with that. But I still think she's amazing, and what she brings to the whole metal community is. We need someone pioneering like Floor Jansen, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the amount of influence she's had, and probably more when you actually dig under the surface of like having female singers in metal. There's hundreds of them.
God, yeah.
When you start looking,
absolutely.
So you think, if you think there's not that many, you're dead wrong. You're dead wrong, because there's hundreds and hundreds of them. And
we're going through a phase now of the female death metal singing. They're now just popping out everywhere.
And it's the likes of Floor and that sort of generation that's probably had a huge influence on that, and that's a positive thing.
And in the same vein as Floor Jansen, got Simone Simons, because the clarity of her voice, I just find I'm trying to think of the right word, but I just love listening to it.
She made my list. I think
the clarity. I've never seen them live, Epica, but I will be. You know, it's like, because I'm late to the Epica party by a long way, and their new album is amazing. I think there's not a bad song on it. You know, it's just fantastic. But her voice is superb. I've got people on this list that some people, I think people won't know. So that'd be interesting.
Yeah, Simone Simon. She's brilliant and captivating, and yeah, she's on my list too. I think she's brilliant. And I have seen live a couple of times, and one of the best live acts I think I've ever seen is Epica, because they have, as we've discussed before, they have a metal edge more so than like some Nightwish and Within Temptation.
I was listening to some older Nightwish, like just came on, you know, when you're playing stuff on random, and it's got much more of a metal sound to it.
Early Nightwish.
Yeah, it's like bigger and more. There's something more to it. I still like Nightwish, but this isn't about that anyway, is it? But when I say Floor Jansen, I'm not necessarily talking about Nightwish. I'm talking about just her body of work and all of the things. I don't think I've ever heard her sing anything that wasn't great. You know, her performance wasn't great.
Yeah.
So
I first time I heard Floor was in After Forever. I thought she was great then.
Yeah. So I've also got Rob Halford. You mentioned.
Oh, Rob Halford.
You mentioned.
Yes, that's it. I'm never a big Judas Priest fan, as everyone seems to know. So I've never really held him high. I know he's a talented chap. Never clicked with me though.
Whereas I think he is one of the voices of metal. I think he is like he's a metal god. No pun intended, Judas Priest fans. But he is a metal god. That voice. It was always a bit harder to listen to for people than Bruce Dickinson, say. So Judas Priest, I think, was because he is like, it's got a harsher sound or whatever the right way of explaining it is. It's got that super high pitch and everything. That's one of those. I listen to Painkiller, and I literally it still makes me kind of do this when I listen to it. You know.
Yeah, he gets very high, isn't he?
Absolutely, yeah. But it has this kind of, his voice kind of just rips through you in a way, and I just love his voice. So that's the obvious, is it?
Those are my obvious ones, yeah. I'd like to throw Devin Townsend in the mix here. Did you make your list?
Nope.
No. Even though I've found the last 10 years of him a mixed bag, when you hear some of his mellow stuff as opposed to his strapping and lad stuff, he can do anything. And there's a brilliant interview he did with the Charismatic Voice.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it's really interesting how he doesn't think he does it because he has to. He doesn't think he's any good. But that's a creative there. Just never happy with their own creative mind. They're never happy with their own work.
I'm trying my best, and I do what I can.
He shouts until he can taste the blood, and then all right, I can do heavy stuff now. But I think he's brilliant, and his quieter stuff, his subtle stuff, especially on the album Key, the KI album. Brilliant.
And I would not argue with you for a second that Devin Townsend is a musical genius. I just find it's not his voice I focus on. The way Devin Townsend constructs his music, that's what appeals to me. That wall of sound, that those amazing soundscapes that his voice is a part of. I've never really thought of him as, apart from the odd time, you listen to, some songs and you can just hear his voice come out, like Kingdom, which everyone loves to do on YouTube. He's obviously the voice is there and everything, but I always think of Devin Townsend as his strapping in like sound, or his Devin Townsend band sound, which he constructs, doesn't he? Out of 38 layers of of stuff. So yeah, I mean, I certainly wouldn't argue with you, and I love his stuff.
I think that's one of the reasons why I mentioned the album Key, because it really,
because
all of that seems to be stripped down.
Calmer.
And I think the songs are really good on that. It's one of his strongest albums for me. And you can hear just how great his voice is.
Yeah. Okay. So this is one you're not gonna. So Marius Duda.
Recognize the name.
Yeah. So this is one that people probably might not be very familiar with. And it's not spelt. Marius isn't quite. It's got a Z on the end because he's from Poland. So Marius Duda is the bass player and singer of Riverside, and Riverside is like a pretty calm prog band. So it's not metal. Seen them live a couple of times. They're a quality act. But you have to be in a calm mood, and he has a very calm tone to his voice that I can just listen to forever. So there's no soaring vocals, there's no high notes, there's no bits that make you that you can't etch glass with his voice or anything, you know.
They won't have reaction videos going.
Yeah, none of that. No harsh vocals, nothing. He just has this almost a soft, calm voice, but the tone of his voice just pokes me right in the mellow bit, you know what I mean? And I just think that it's just a lovely voice, you know, which is not a description I tend to use. It's just he just has this voice, and yeah. So Marius, so check out Riverside if you don't know the band, but it is a very calm, light prog band mostly. Still got some rockier stuff, but it's just his voice. I just love it.
Talking of, I've got two people who could probably fit into that camp. One is also a bass player, and that is Doug Pinnock from King's X.
All right, yeah.
Always loved his voice. I always found the music's all a bit lightweight at sometimes, but when stuff on like Tapehead and Dogman, it's one album that is. It's the richness of his timbre, I guess. It's just just hits me right in the feels, man.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's exactly what this. And you could listen to him singing his shopping list, because he just does that. What amazing! That sound in their voice, you just go, oh yes, you know, without having your ears blown off or whatever. You know?
And another Gary Madison, it might be on yours for a similar reason. His clean stuff has similar feel, and gonna go yes. And his growly stuff is amazing as well, but he doesn't do that anymore. But,
Mikael Lagerfeld.
Yes.
Who is on my list?
He's on your list because his clean stuff. I could. He could read out the football.
That's the singer from Opeth. If you don't know the name,
he could sing the football scores. And I mean, it's amazing.
And
go on.
Sorry. And the thing about Opeth is, I know people who are not into metal, like metal. There's our friend Chezzy, who likes lightweight rock, basically like radio rock. Not really doing him a disservice, it's just dead true. He just likes all of that, like hair metal kind of stuff and everything. Does not like growling at all or anything like that. Loves Opeth. And our other friend Mike, who has been on the channel, if you go and look up the introducing someone to metal genres, Mike is not a metal guy, but likes Opeth, and I think that's got to be down. For those people, I don't think it's down to the death metal or the long musical sort of compositions. I think it's his voice that drags you in, and everything else goes with it, kind of thing. And he just sings. Even his death metal voice, he's got a certain tone to it. I think that he's just got one of those great voices. But yeah, when he sings clean, It's that.
Yeah, and it's always the argument when Opeth release a new album in their new style. They say there's no growling in it. That's not it. I would happily listen to him sing cleanly, and he doesn't have to growl at all. It's just all the metal's been stripped out of the band, which is the bit that I really like. Yeah. But I could hear him. He could sing anything.
It's not the lack of the Cookie Monster vocals, is it?
No, I'd happily listen to anything that he sings. He can even sing a folk album. It's kind of out, really. The wasn't Deliverance album. The other one he did. What's it called?
Damnation.
Yeah, what an album that is. Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
loved all of that because, and it's not about power, and it's not about how high you can get. It's all about
feeling and
the quality melodies that he comes up with. Just just clicks. So, fantastic.
Yeah, because when I wrote his name down, I was thinking, why am I writing his name down? And hence all of that just came out. So yeah, Geoff Tate's on here. So here's one for you. Warrell Dane.
He's on my list as well.
So Warrell Dane, for people who don't know who that is, was the singer with Nevermore, and he's made a couple of albums under his own name. He has sadly passed away now. But for a metal singer, his delivery was somewhat unique, and his voice, I don't know if unique's the right word, but it captivated you. I think something about it, whether it was the way he delivered it or what, he had this almost like an aggressive, in your face way of singing. It was like singing at you, rather than to you. On quite a lot of their stuff, but it made it work. It had this
and his was the voice that
attitude.
I remember getting the very first Sanctuary album, the second Sanctuary album, get my facts right, Into the Mirror Black, I think it was called, and I didn't get his vocals straight away. Loved the music, but the way he sang seemed a bit eclectic at times. But it didn't take long to me thinking, actually, this is really good, and it's a little bit different. It wasn't your standard power metal-y clean singer. There was I think it was late 80s or early 90s, and that's what struck with me. And then caught up with Nevermore a bit later on. I think this is so good, and his melodies are clever, and they're not easy to write.
You're right. His melodies were clever. I mean, musically, Nevermore were fab. Let's face it, just everything about them, everything about Nevermore was great. Because they had Jeff Loomis, and and the drummer was amazing. I don't know his name actually, but drummer was amazing. But then you had that vocal line as well. It all fit together so well. It almost, I guess, everything showcases everything else. That's just kind of the way it is.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of it was his delivery.
Yeah.
He had a good voice as well. He had this amazing delivery.
Get into the high registers, and so he could scream like Rob Halford's, but he didn't do it very often. So when he did hear it, he did.
That's the thing with some bands, isn't it? They throw everything in the first minute, so they've nowhere to go, kind of thing. So there are no more surprises because we've chucked everything in at the beginning. But if you if you space it out, it kind of matters more. But
super talent.
So it's interesting. We've got quite an similar list here by the sounds of it. We really did this individually.
And I like to I did sort of raise 5 more than above the, so I'll get into that at the end, but I would like to touch on thrash vocalists because I've got a few. Because
these won't be on my list.
Think about thrash, and I was watching a very interesting chat with Steve Hughes, a comedian, because he's a thrash death metal fan, isn't he? And he said something that I thought all along. He's just, all right, somebody else thinks the same I do. And he said, when thrash first started, you got all these fans of the new wave of British heavy metal, and you got like the Bruce Dickinsons and the Dios and Rob Halfords, and you think, I want to start a band, but where do you get a singer like that? So Steve Hughes said that thrash is probably where the music started leveling up with the vocalists, or overtaking the vocalists in regards to appeal and probably quality. Because where do you find, if you're just backwaters of LA or Manchester or wherever, where do you get an amazing singer like that? So that's why they had to up the level of musicianship to compensate for that. I thought that was quite interesting. I have thought that. But having said that, early thrash, it's probably the 80s thrash, I don't think the thrash bands were ahead of the production at the time. So I don't think they got a fair crack of the whip in regards to production, especially in the vocals. So when you hear, I can't remember the names, I've got written down here, like Rob Kavstani from Death Angel and Eric Knudsen from Flotsam and Jetsam, you just seen them on here. They sound great because they've probably got better as well as from.
Yeah,
I think. Oh, you can sing a bit, like back when they first joined the band. How amazing, So they probably got better, and productions got better. So I just wanted to give those two a shout out, along with the likes of John Bush, who's one of my favourites. I've always liked John Bush, his delivery. And I've got two that are on my top list. I'll come to that too later, but also Russ Anderson from Forbidden.
Oh,
he was amazing.
Yes.
And I've always loved his tone, loved the way he sang, and his delivery, and I think that was one of the rare occasions where they probably did find an amazing singer on the same level as like this Bruce Dickinson's.
Yes,
but he's probably playing the wrong type of music for any kind of money to be put behind them to get the best out of him. Would that be a fair assumption? Would you think?
Yeah, I think so. And as you were talking, then I have thought of a thrash name, but I won't say it because it probably is the person on your list, and I didn't write it down.
Well, I got two thrashes on the list.
Go on then.
I
think your list is bigger than mine.
Well, I was going to touch on a few others as well before I get to my.
Okay.
The five that I put on my list, I enjoy them.
I haven't got top five. I've just got names.
I'll throw some more names out. Attila Dawn from Power Wolf. Blackie Lawless. I've always loved his. No one really else sounds like Blackie Lawless. And another thrashy one. You don't know one thrash album, but what an amazing performance! Go on,
Steve Grimmett.
Yes. What an amazing performance of the whole album.
Absolutely.
But it would never make my top five because that's. I like his stuff in Grim Reaper, but on that In Search of Sanity album,
I always say, everyone should find Onslaught's album In Search of Sanity because it's an odd one. It's not for a thrash band because it's not a thrash album, is it? Really, it's so experimental.
All the tropes are there.
It's downright ploddy.
I think
I love it.
The production is so cleaned up on that. I think it takes away some of the thrashy tropes. I think if you re-recorded it would sound very different.
I talk at length about that album about 3 years ago on the channel. Go and find my Onslaught video.
I've got two female singers. Actually, I'll put a third one in as well. To have all similar qualities.
So I have one here that I just love her voice.
I've got. I love all these three. Their voice. Anna Murphy being one.
That's the one I've got.
Her control and delivery is just sublime. Anika van Giersbergen.
Oh yes.
I think she's an oddity because her voice is so non-metal. It's very pop, but she still manages to.
She fits right in with
yes.
Devin or with whoever. She's done a lot of area stuff as well.
Quality voice, and Sabine Shearer as well. Sadly retired she's in Deadlock.
Right.
Again, she's quite poppy, but her melodies worked. To treat not the heaviest voice, but when you got a really heavy band, you know, and a sort of shouter, growler kind of chap, then you get this soaring pop voice that then comes in. I just love the delivery and the melody that she writes. Wonderful.
Anna Murphy, she sings those notes that you kind of go, ooh, you know, just that again. And there's a lady called Yumna Drisati who, I don't know who's going to know who Yumna Drisati is. I'm guessing very, very few. She's from the Lebanon, and she sang on an album by a band called Astura. And if ever there was a description of someone with the voice of an angel, it was Yumna Drisati, because she would sing these notes that would make you want to start crying. She just had this well, she still has, not died or anything, but you know, it was one of those things that I listened to and I was just like, where do you find people with voices like this? Now maybe it's because I'm in this metal corridor and there's amazing jazz singers or you know, opera singers or whatever, or country singers perhaps, that have amazing voices. I'm sure there are, but Yumna Drisati was I just like, oh my God, just listen to that voice. Get the Astura album too, The Room. Yeah, that's another one. You must have it. You must. I've got to pick up my book now because I threw it.
But I think this one of the reasons why I went down the female singer route is because I don't think it's a fully tapped genre. I think there's more to come from there, and it's great that there's more female singers coming into metal, because when you get a good quality female voice, they've got certain inflections, and the way they construct melodies is quite different than how I would. Because when I work with my friend Katie and I work with Elle, they come with such different ideas. I'd come up with a basic melody, and if I was, you know, singing it or giving it to some like a chap, they'd just probably sing it how I would. But
yeah,
suddenly give it to like a woman with inflections and larger range, suddenly you get something that's quite different that you don't always get in metal, because a lot of females, I don't know, I don't want to put myself out here, but they probably try and sing too much as a man. Does that make sense?
I'm trying to put all the aggression in.
Yeah, and I won't want to name any names at this. You know, I have a few singers I think, well, they're just doing what Jeff Tate did, which sounds amazing. And what the point I'm trying to make is, I think there's a lot of room for a female voice as a bringing their own style, and
like Anna Murphy.
Basically. Yeah, and those two that I've just mentioned as well, that are not trying to do. It's not all about power and like the Michael Ackerfelds of this world, where they're clean. It's just, you know, you can listen to what it's all day without them having to hit the high notes. It's great when they do, but you know, just have something more than just belting something out. Does that make sense?
It does.
Interesting one for discussion, I think. That's one of the reasons why I went for Elle, because she has that for me.
She's got a sultry tone to her voice, which is definitely not something you get very often. Especially in metal like yours, which is metal. You know, you're not trying to be a prog band, or you're not playing radio friendly metal, apart from metal radio. You know, so have her kind of, and also you have a thing. We're going slightly on the subject here, but you also have that thing where the music's pretty quick and metal, but her voice isn't. So her voice literally is almost like a different layer on it. So it, and I think it throws people, I think, when they first hear it as well, because they're expecting someone to come in with singing quickly or singing aggressively or whatever, and it doesn't happen.
And it is jarring, and but people like it and dislike it for exactly the same reason, because of the clean melodies over the top of harsh music, you know. Because I think one reaction video they were expecting it to sound like Angela Gossop,
right, or
Tatiana, whatever names from
Ginger,
yeah, and they got surprised when it
didn't happen.
This voice of an angel that came in, yes, yeah, and I think there's more. I think there's room for more of that, and it's great to see that there's more females coming in. Thankfully, from the likes of Flor and Angela and Tatiana, it's getting. I think it's only good for the genre.
But another thing that's good for the female vocalist is we're going through this sort of maturing of the death metal female vocalist, where for a while it was, I've said this a few times, but for a while it was just to have someone who could make that noise who was female, and that was enough. So we just play a song and you just go wah, and everyone will go ooh, and winner. But of course you can only do that for so long before the audience gets used to it, which I think was a while ago. So now you've got bands like Vintasy, where the music is fantastic and the vocalist is also fantastic, so she can hit all of the harsh stuff, but a clean voice is really good, and the whole thing. And I think that can only be a good thing, that people they're not just asking, oh, you're female, can you make this noise? That will do. Because I know I could, which I'm not going to, I could name a female vocalist out there who is quite popular. She's not super famous, but she's pretty popular. And when she does the harsh vocals, it's monotone, because she's spending so much effort to do the voice that the melody's gone, and you just get a monotone sound. And that's why in my list, I think that there aren't really any harsh vocalists, because though it is a skill and everything, absolutely, it's not something that touches me inside, as they say. It doesn't have that effect on me, other than me to go ooh, but I don't want to hear their shopping list growled, basically. But yeah, I think, like you say, that I was coming off the fact that you're saying there is more scope in metal for female voices to be female voices.
Yeah, I think that's probably what I was trying. Thank you for summing it up. Yeah. Rather than. And even I think the death metal female vocal is evolving more towards its own sound. Whereas to start with, I think it was, can this woman sing like a man and do the death metal sound? And that was enough for a while, but we've evolved out of that. But anyway, I've hammered that one into the ground. So I'm running out of names, you'll be pleased to hear. But I've got one here, and I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce his first name, but it's Einar Solberg. And Einar Solberg's the singer from Leprous. He has a unique voice that sometimes literally just makes me happy. Some people, I suspect, hate it, because it is an odd sound. But I don't usually go for things because they're unique, but the uniqueness of his voice is what attracts me to it. I think it's just, their music's really cool too, but his voice is just something else. Check out Leprous; you'll find them on YouTube. I can see why people wouldn't like it, but yeah, he's just got a voice. I just go wow every time I hear it. So yeah. Anyway, I've got a few more. I've got. I've always really
I've got about 100 more, but not that I've written down.
Howard Jones.
Oh right, yeah.
Always just the tone, the power and the tone, both in his shouty stuff and his clean stuff, and his melodies on his clean stuff. It's just fantastic. They just work, and the way he soars, and his voice doesn't change at all when he sings low and when he goes up into the rafters. I've always really enjoyed Howard Jones. I like the other guy, I can't remember his name, but I always...
What, from Killswitch Engage?
Yeah, Jesse something. I liked Jesse on the first album, and Howard came in and just elevated the band for me because I just clicked with Howard's voice. And when he left and Jesse came back in, I've drifted off them a little bit because it is just simply down to Howard's voice clicked with me.
And now Howard's got his Light the Torch
yeah
project. Don't know what you call it, but it's just a bit commercial for me sounding. He's still got, but yeah, he's got a great voice.
When he did a guest spot Within Temptation, that's a great song, and he really drives it.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah,
really enjoyed that.
That's an odd pairing, isn't it?
It is, but I think it worked.
To get Howard Jones into Within Temptation, like what?
I've got 2 more females as well.
Okay.
Before I get to my 5 that just popped into my head when I first thought of it. Fuki.
Oh yes.
Her, whatever have I described as before? His voice is as clean and as clear as glass. I just love it. The power that she has and the delivery, magical. And here's one you've not heard of. Ellen Larson from Blues Pills. If you like that 70s
from what?
Blues Pills.
Blues Pills.
Blues Pills, yeah.
Right, okay.
Or Blues Pills.
Pass.
If you are looking for that 70s retro Janis Joplin type of sassy vocal, she's probably the best one. I think she's wonderful. The band doesn't always tick my boxes, and I've seen them live as well, but she just holds my attention with her voice. I think she's tremendous. And my initial 5, Chuck Billy.
All right.
Always
Testament.
Because he can do.
He went very death metal.
Very death metal, and it sounds amazing because it's all very guttural, and the bass he's got in his voice is amazing. And I've always loved his clean stuff as well. My other thrash one is
Bobby.
Yeah.
Bobby Blitzel's.
Yeah, he sounds exactly the same after 40 years, and the way he shouts and he screams and just
yeah.
Gets me there going, yeah, come on.
Yeah, he has got an amazing voice.
And
a man's so amazing that he had a stroke on stage and finished the gig before he went to the hospital.
And when we first got the first Disturbed album, it's all full of like barks, and he goes, oh wow. Well, Bobby's been doing that for years. Not that copying anything, but Bobby's so good at it. I think it's in the song Necro Shine. He goes, ah, 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 ah. When I do it, it's stupid, isn't it? But when he does it, it just gets me all fired up. And one I'm sporting the t-shirt of is Cobra Page, who I just love her tone, the depth of her voice, and she can also do the metal side of things as well.
Unless you listen to the first album, in which case she sounds like a completely different person. Yeah,
so this is a person that's like, I've grown with her, and how she's got better as she's gone on. And I don't think she's peaked yet either. I think there's more to come from Cobra. I think she's a super talent. 2 left. Now this is a controversial one.
Ooh.
And it is Andy Deris.
We're gonna get comments.
As when we were saying favourite singers.
That new singer from Halloween.
The new singer's been for 35 years or whatever it is. He not only is. Let's go back a bit, right? So Andy Deris comes in, and he's sort of expecting a carbon copy of Michael Kiske, because that's what's worked for Halloween, isn't it? Then this guy comes in. He can do a bit of what he can do, Michael Kiske can do, but he's unique to any other power metal. Of all the power metal vocalists Halloween could have got, they chose Andy Deris because he's got characters of his voice. You know you're listening to him. He's a super songwriter. He can do the screams and the pops and squeals and stuff like that. So his range and what he gives to Halloween is probably not appreciated by probably the mainstream media or whatever. But if you listen to what he does and his body of work for how many albums he's done for Helloween, it's just outstanding. And what was interesting is when the new Helloween album came out with all the 3 singers on, I found I was enjoying Andy Darius' stuff more because of his style. Plus, well, maybe because I'm used to it, but I just at that point I realised how much I enjoyed his delivery and how.
I mean, Kai Hansen has a certain voice. I wouldn't say he was a great singer.
Yeah.
You know. So.
Well, Michael Kiske came in and did what Michael Kiske does, but Andy Darius, I don't know, I just love the character of his voice, and I think there's quite a lot to it.
I'm really looking forward to them touring.
Yeah.
Next year,
yeah.
I think it is now.
Because when he sings his ballads, he can sound a bit lightweight, and then when the chorus kicks in, he's like soaring, and you can do his falsetto stuff. I think he should get more what you call it, notification or sort, or then he's probably gets. So and last on my list is John Oliver.
Oh, right.
From Sabotage. Probably the best vocal performance I've heard on any record is probably 1987's Hold the Mountain King. Listen to his vocal on that, it is massive. And what he puts into it, it's amazing. And he also shows his metal side on later albums when they sort of go a bit more rock opera-y, so he can do ballads and stuff like that, and put so much heart into it. And then he can do some growling and sneering, and yeah, lovely. There you go.
So obviously there are lots of singers out there, and everyone has their favorite because it is such a subjective subject. So I'm sure people have their own, and I'm interested to hear them, because there's lots of singers out there I'm sure that we've never even heard.
Yes.
I mean, we're talking about 100,000 people out there who are all singing. So, but it is a subjective thing. Some people will love a certain voice, like take the Leprous guy, for instance. I love it. Some people literally will not be able to listen to it because it'll be like scratching their ears, sort of thing. So, yeah. Hope you've enjoyed. Really, it's just us two talking about what we normally talk about when the camera's not on, but with a little bit of focus, just a little bit. Oh yeah, we used to always do these podcast episodes, and it's always good fun for us to do. I hope people feel they can join in the conversation, kind of thing, or it might just at least give you something to listen to you haven't heard yourself. You might think, I don't know who that is. I'll go check them out. So
yeah, we all hear these differently, and
absolutely
at different times in our life we have different outlooks and stuff like that. So it's interesting to see. But
I think there's a crossover in our lists because we have kind of in parallel through the years. Oh, listen to this, listen to this, listen to this, kind of thing. So there's obviously going to be a crossover, but we do have. If it was a Venn diagram, it really would overlap. But there are outlying things where we go off in our own way.
Rob Halford, Dio.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a good example.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go. It's not in any particular order. It's just a chat. Feel free to comment. In fact, I encourage you to. See you soon.
See you now.
Bye bye.